We are live.
Thank you, Corey. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Utilities, Safety, and Environment Committee meeting. The first item on our agenda tonight is the approval of the January 6th, 2021 Utilities Committee meeting minutes. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second,
Please, I couldn't hear.
Ms. Davis moved and Judy Keys second.
Moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mrs. Keys. Are there any questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the matter of amendment number 2 for professional services for Stantec Consulting for professional services at the water treatment plant. Mr. Schneider, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As council is aware, we have some improvements going on at the water treatment plant. They've been going on for a little while. Some improvements to the clear wells and sedimentation basins. This is to help high rate our plant so that we can, in the future, help sell more water and help keep our rates down and things of that nature. The project actually started prior to COVID. Actually, it was in 2019. Then COVID hit, obviously, so it caused some bumps in the road, as well as during the construction of the project, we've come across a couple issues, nothing major, just things that hurdles we had to take care of. We had a consultant who designed the product. They had to do some additional work, and due to these additional work, as well as the I would say the project being extended due to COVID, they've incurred additional costs, and we would like to keep them on to complete the project. And we're asking today to amend their contract to include an initial $100,000 to carry through to the end of the project. The funds will be paid for from the water department. We're asking that it be passed under suspension of the rules, declared emergency, as they are under construction right now, and keep them going.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Are there any questions for Engineer Snyder?
I have one.
Mr. Sarah?
Through you, Madam Chair, not that it makes a huge difference, but what kind of challenges would they have due to COVID for the type of work they're doing?
Well, COVID just delayed it. So the delays alone caused them to be out there longer as well. So the project was supposed to be completed last year, but due to issues with getting materials in a timely manner, things of that nature, it extended the project.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Engineer Snyder?
He answered it.
Okay, I will read the committee report. It is not, Mr. Brunig, it is not on the committee report, suspension of rules and declared an emergency. Can the clerk's office add that?
Yeah, you can hand write that in, Mrs. Mitchell, if you like, the emergency part. Suspension is more for our information. We don't need that in the ordinance legislation itself.
Okay, thank you. I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of amendment number 2 for professional services for the improvement project at the water treatment plant. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into amendment number 2 to the agreement with Stantec Consulting Services for the said project under suspension of rules and declared an emergency. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second,
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. I am so sorry. The next item on the agenda is the matter of entering into an agreement with Osborne Engineering for design services for the resurfacing reconstruction project of East Broad Street from Abbey Road to Cedar. Engineer Schneider, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. as council is aware, the city has received funds from NOACA as well as ODOT safety funds to reconstruct East Broad Street to add to make it essentially the way we're going to be doing on Cleveland Street, add the third lane, so in parts of it. So it would be a single lane each direction, the two-way left turn lane in the center. In order to do this project, we needed to hire a consultant, as there's a lot of hoops we have to jump through with ODOT when it comes to these type of projects. There's a lot of federal guidelines we have to follow, and they are the experts. As part of the process we go through, it's a qualification-based process. So we go out for bids or go out for qualifications. Consultants, they see this, they send in their letters of interest that they want to be the designer, and therefore then we take those letters of interest and we rank the consultants and essentially put them in order from one to the bottom, and the top person who is ranked first in qualifications is the one we actually go to for the proposal to design the project. From there is when we actually get our price to design the project. The cost in this is, I would say, a fair price as far as the design because of the amount of work that is required. Osborne Engineering is, they were the original engineering firm who actually did the safety study to help get the funds for the project. I would also like to point out that Osborne Engineering also has been hired by the Chestnut Commons connector developer to because they have questions regarding the design over there as far as drainage and things. So I do want to point out to council that, you know, whether I don't know if there's a conflict or not at this time, but
No, not at this time, Mr. Schneider. We can proceed with this at this point.
okay, I just wanted to make sure council was aware that they had, they are a part of the Chestnut Commons connected as well. This, the estimate for I should say typically when you go out for these type of projects with ODOT, the city is required to put in 20% of the project cost. The safety funds, usually it's knocked down to about 10% of the cost. Because this project, we were able to secure additional funding source as far as those safety funds are concerned. It was allowing us to actually pay for the engineering cost, which is typically not done. Typically we pay 100% out of our pocket. But so as far as even the 10%, the safety funds actually qualify for the design safety for that 10%. So the good news is it shouldn't cost us any money out of our pocket for the design. We have safety funds to cover it. Now the safety funds can only be used for safety fund items. So if there are items on there as part of the design that would be non-deemed safety, which would be aesthetics more so than anything, they would not cover the design for that.
Okay.
So at this time, I anticipate the entire cost being picked up by those safety funds, but there is a possibility we could have a few dollars in it, but overall, it's going to be paid for with safety funds. And anything that would be local funds required would come out of medium motor vehicle funds. So, but I just want to make sure, give council all the information before we move forward.
I guess one question that I have, Osborne did the design for Chestnut Commons. Is the delay over there because of the design or
No.
because?
No.
It was actually designed by Trans Systems and they
Oh,
have
I see.
AS. Osborne has been retained to critique the design.
Understood. Okay. Okay. All right. Are there any questions for Engineer Schneider, Mrs. Keys?
Through you, Madam Chair, what's the time frame for this project?
Good question. Because one of the things when you also doing these type of projects is right away. When you have right away involvement, it pushes construction out a ways. Typically, right away when you look at a normal design project, to design it's one thing. To include the right of way, it usually adds a year onto the design process because you have to secure the right of way before you can design something.
Mhm.
That requires negotiating with private property owners, even if it's a temporary right of way. So there's a lot of time in the right of way, and that's what really elevates the cost of the design process for these type of projects. But we're looking at probably, I believe the schedule for this was fiscal year 2023, which means it probably won't be constructed until 2022 at the earliest.
Thank you.
Start construction.
Mrs. Keys?
Through you, Madam Chair, one more question. Would there be a bike lane incorporated in the design?
The plan is to include a multi-path type lane, which would be a sidewalk. Not necessarily a bike lane on the road itself. The intent of the project is hopefully to put it off where the sidewalk would be. So whether we widen the sidewalk, remove the sidewalk and put an asphalt path through there that's 10 foot wide, 8 foot wide, depending on what we can fit in there, or whether we go at 2 5-foot sidewalks on either side, on both sides of the road. But yes, we do plan on trying to make it more bicycle friendly. We just don't know how much right of way we have at this time to accommodate that. And that will be determined in the design.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder.
Mrs. Davis?
Through you, Madam Chair, Mr. Snyder. And so this project is going on. What about, is it's going to conflict with the new Speedway and the new Dunkin' Donut? Is all this going to be going on around the same time or what?
I actually think their projects will be done before we start. We're looking at 2 years before we start, and I think they're looking to break ground for the Speedway in the next few months. And we have had discussions with Speedway as far as additional right-of-way already from their property. So they've already given us a highway easement, or I should say, it will be coming to Planning Commission to give us the highway easement. So we're getting a little more property from them already as part of their project, which will help us in the future when we improve the intersection at Abbey Road.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions? I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of professional services for the design of the East Broad Street resurfacing reconstruction project. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Osborne Engineering for professional services for said project. Total amount not to exceed $840,000. Suspension of rules and declared an emergency is requested. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of advertising for bids and entering into a contract for the Lowell Street reconstruction project. Engineer Schneider.
That must be a mistake, right? I'm just kidding.
Don't play.
I know. Either way.
I'm kind of happy about this one.
I know. So we finally got the go-ahead from Ohio Public Works to move forward with this project. So we are looking at this time to go ahead and start the process as far as getting a bid out. The earlier the better, hopefully, because we have a lot of projects coming out this year, and we like to capitalize on the low asphalt prices thanks to the gas being down. But the part of this project will be in the township. We are working with the township as far as securing the agreement to pay for their portion. They will benefit from the Ohio Public Works funds as well. I will say that when we first applied for this project, we applied for an 8911 fund or 8911 funded project, which means the city would pay 11% and Ohio Public Works 89%. Because, and this is one of the reasons why we're getting it right now, one of the things they do during the process of Ohio Public Works, they give out all the money for the projects, but then as money comes back in, they put more projects out. So we were first on the list to get this one out. So unfortunately, they didn't get enough money back to cover the entire project, but they did get the $307,900 to cover a large chunk of the project, which is roughly 79%. So us and the county are putting an additional 10% in. I guess with that, it's a typical street resurfacing. We're looking to bid this out shortly. We're looking for an amount not to exceed $410,000 to construct the project entirety. That would include the county's portion as well. I guess with that, if council has any questions.
It's gonna go from, I know it's going out to 113. Where's the resurfacing going to start at?
Actually going to go all the way over to where 3M. So we're going to go over the
Oh,
bridge,
3M.
township portion. We're not going
Awesome.
to include the bridge. The bridge is outside of the project because it would be a lot more money we would need. But the resurfacing will be all the asphalt from essentially the old 3M plant to 113.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 113.
Mhm. That is.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Schneider? I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the resurfacing of Lowell Street from 1255 Lowell Street to State Route 113. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for said resurfacing project, not to exceed a total amount of $410,000. Suspension of the rules is requested. Can I get a motion, please?
So move, Madam Chair.
Second.
Second.
It was moved by Mrs. Davis and second by Mrs. Simmons. Are there any other questions?
Real quick, Mrs. Mitchell.
Yes, sir.
John, you're good with it going into effect March 1st or so? You don't need to advertise before then?
Oh, well, we've always advertised. We just won't award the project until after it goes through the whole process.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you for that one. I'm happy about that one. That was a long time coming. The next item on the agenda is the matter of amendment number 7 to the agreement with AECon for professional services pertaining to the wet weather program. Engineer Schneider, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As you know, AECom has been doing our wet weather program for years. This is the long-term control plan that we're currently in negotiations with the US EPA regarding our CSOs and SSOs, all those SSO or OOs things. But ultimately, what we're looking for today is to extend their contract, as we have not come to a completion with the negotiations, not to mention there's a number of design components to this amendment to their contract. Essentially, this is to keep going and hopefully get to the end sooner than later. But these dollars will be used for a number of things. They're part of the agreement, and the consultant will not proceed with anything without the engineering approval first and foremost. So that it's broken down into different categories. I believe you were given the exhibit A and B for that to kind of help explain exactly what they are. I don't know if you have any questions in regards to what they mean, but I'd be more than happy to answer those. The biggest one is task number 4, which is planning and design services for the whole Eastern Heights area. And what they're basically going to be doing over there is looking at the existing infrastructure, seeing where all the issues are, seeing what we need to do to make the US and Ohio EPA happy as far as controlling the wet weather. You know, it will include flow monitoring, it will include televising and cleaning sewers, it will include maybe even smoke testing and dye testing and things of that nature. So before we can actually get those projects started in the future, even though those projects won't start for a number of years, we need to do a lot of investigation to figure out what we need to do. We might have to put storage in, we might have to put additional sewers. We're currently running the East Side Relief Sewer down the, it sits over at South Abbey Road and Poplar Street in that area. That will head over into the Eastern Heights area to pick up flows and make sure we it's big enough and things of that nature. So this is a very crucial component to this request here. So, and then a lot of the other stuff, like I said, is modeling, EPA negotiations, things of that nature. So.
And as you said, this is something that has to be done. It's mandated by the EPA, so we don't have a lot of choice. Are there any questions? Ms. Davis, I see you have.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Snyder. I noticed the word consolidation. So are these companies, were they separate before, or is this one company? Because it says consolidation of SSO, CSO, and WWPCP weather plan. So how come we're using the word consolidation, or is that some companies coming together?
That is not companies coming together. That's more so the overall program. They're consolidating the work, the SSO, CSO, and the wet weather plan work all as one big giant task, you could say, because when you look at a sanitary sewer or you look at a storm sewer, really need to look at the whole area. So it's not necessarily one component. It's pretty much anything that drains in those areas.
Thank you.
Are there any other, Mrs. Keys? You have to unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Snyder. I hope I can remember my question now. Is this going to entail digging up any of the streets or like Park Avenue when they're doing their study, or is this more running cameras down sewers and that sort of thing? I guess I'm wondering if it's gonna.
Yeah, it's more of a study, so it's not going to have construction involved really. Now we might be out there, we might put a camera in, and we might see a sewer that's broke or starting to collapse, or issues like that, and we might do some corrective measures while we're there. But it's not like we're going to tear up the entire road at this time and try to put a new storm sewer, a new sanitary sewer, and things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of an amendment number 7 to the agreement with AECon for the wet weather program at the wastewater pollution control plant. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into amendment number 7 for the said project. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Madam Chair.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Sarah, second by Mrs. Davis. Are there any other questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The last item on our agenda is the matter of advertising for bids and entering into a contract for the TLCI Phase 4 project, which includes ADA curbs, sidewalks, street lights on 2nd Street, West Avenue, Court Street, and Broad Street. Engineer Schneider, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Over the past couple of years, we've done a few TLCI projects in the downtown area. A lot of them included replacing some sidewalks, replacing a lot of the street lights, adding different type of pavement markings, bike racks, benches, and things of that nature. This is no different than that. This is just picking up some other areas in the downtown area to complete. And I believe once this one is done, we will have completed all the street lights. All those bad street lights should have been completed by then. At least that was the plan. But there's a number of sidewalks that are problematic. One of the areas we were looking at to try to, the TLCI funds are largely used to help improve living, quality of life, things of that nature. And one of the target areas when we applied for these funds were right there at the corner of Washington Avenue and Broad Street, right by the comic book store. They're looking to try to replace a lot of the bricks in that area, maybe replace the planters a little bit with something different, and kind of spruce that area up, add some wayfinding signs and things of that nature to help people maybe get around town a little better, things of that nature. So there's a number of, that was one of the focal points as part of this project, as well as replacing some of the sidewalk over by Pioneer Plaza and the new library, things of that nature. So those are probably the larger components of the project.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Snyder. Are there any questions? Ms. Davis?
Thank you. He answered really what I was going to ask. The sidewalk, I saw a lady stumble down there by the new library area by the Pioneer Plaza. And I thought, oh my God, if she falls, because there's a raise there that she stumbled and caught herself. And she didn't fall, but I was really concerned about the sidewalks in that area, caught up and down from the alleyway there down to where the new library is going to be, has been kind of bad. But anyway, thanks for answering that for the sidewalks.
No problem.
Great. Are there, I'm sorry, Mr. Brunick, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. John, I'm looking at the draft committee report, which you probably don't have. But based on the project schedule in your referral, it looks like you want to have this bid and awarded before March 1st to meet with ODOT time schedule. So we're probably going to need to suspend an emergency on this, Mrs. Mitchell. I don't know if that was listed on yours. So when you read it, if you could add that in, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else? Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of a contract for the Lower Elyria TLCI Phase 4 project, ADA curb, ramp, sidewalk, street lighting on 2nd Street, West Avenue, Court Street, and Broad Street. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for said project. Cost of the project is broken down. NOACA TLCI funds, $150,000. City Muni Motor Fund, $212,000. Stormwater Fund, $30,000, which is a total of $392,000. This will be under suspension of rules and declared an emergency. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. There is nothing else to come before this committee, but Mr. Schneider, while you're here, is it too early for us to start getting our street list together?
Oh, I know that's right.
No, it isn't. We'll take them. Take the list anytime. I would like to try to bid it out earlier this year, at least.
Okay.
The same thing we did last year. Maybe do a group A, then to do a group B later on, just to get some things out of the gate. I think that was a good, because of the amount of streets we have. I think it really worked well because we had 2 different contractors. They were able to, when they did come to town, they tackled them pretty quickly. So it would be nice if we could get it out a little earlier.
Okay. All right, Mr. Tolet.
Madam Chair, through you, this question is for Mr. Brunig and Mr. Schneider, I believe. At the new Chestnut Connector Road, at the intersection of the Connector Road and Broad Street, there is a new street sign up listing the name as Reeser Parkway, which, unless I missed something, is different than what was talked about earlier. Can we get clarification on that?
I will say that the sign was originally asked for by the developer during the design process, so it was put in the plans. It was not approved through planning commission. Obviously, it did not go to council either yet. We were hoping to have all that ironed out beforehand and have the act, whatever, if council elects to change the name, to have that up there. We can cover it up. That's not a problem if that's what you're asking. But originally that is what the developer had requested.
That was in the plans that were developed and designed jointly between the developer and the city. And again, this was not done in what we would say the normal channels where we had preliminary design approval and then final plat approval. So we will be going back at some point jointly with the developer, hopefully here in the near future, for plat approval through planning commission and council. And during that process, if planning commission has issues with that name or anything else in the project, that's when those things will come out.
I know it was discussed through you, Madam Chair. I apologize. I know that this was discussed with, I believe, the police and fire department because of safety. And that was never brought up that was concluded at that time.
Yeah, until, Madam Chair, if I may, until it goes through the planning commission process and the dedication is accepted by council, that is not official. And the police and fire departments will have the opportunity to weigh in at planning commission during that stage. And again, at full council, should they, deem that to be necessary as well.
Thank you.
Mrs. Keys, did I see your hand up? Go ahead, please.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Snyder. Mr. Snyder, do you have an updated list of the ratings of the streets?
I can send that out to the council and all the members.
Thank you. It's very helpful.
If I can just go back to the Chestnut Commons Connector Road. I don't know what's taking so long to get this road done and open, but it seems to be taking an extraordinarily long time. And I don't need to know all the particulars, but we need to work this out and get that road open. The citizens of Elyria, they want it open. We need to do what we can to make sure that it's open, or as quickly as we can. One last thing, and you guys are gonna get so sick of me. This is my favorite subject. Get your streets in. Send an email to Mr. Schneider with the streets that you would like to have done in your ward. The sooner we get them done, the sooner they can rank them, the sooner we can start construction. So, and I will say this repeatedly over the next few weeks. So let's get her done.
Mhm.
Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Madam Chair.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mr. Sarah. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Good night, everybody. It was a
Good
good
night.
meeting. Thank
Good
you.
Good night.
Good night.